Thank you. Okay. This meeting is in session. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
It's snowing again, but that doesn't stop us, luckily. Okay, let's get this party started. Would someone like to move the approval of the agenda, please?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Counterminded? Carried.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Can I just add something to the agenda? I know. Don't panic.
We just passed the agenda.
I know. Well, I meant to do it.
Yes.
Can we have an update on the COVID protocols in some of our buildings?
Great idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew you would agree with it. That's why I saved it for. I was waiting for you, actually.
It's a timely issue, and again, something that
We
we
had a
should
call
have.
today on our protocols at the Civic Center, so I
Yes.
thought we just.
I
Okay.
got it in my city manager's report.
Perfect. Well, again, we can let the people, we can let
Yeah.
everyone know, I guess, for the public's sake, what it is. But I'll add it there.
I
We'll
can
just
answer it then.
add it there at the end, right at the end.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I assume that everyone's okay with adding that item to the agenda? Okay? Perfect. Minutes, the approval of the minutes from the committee of the whole on the 28th. Would someone like to move those minutes, please?
Moved.
Thank you. Seconder?
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contraminded? Carried. Excellent. Yes.
I'm on a roll tonight. 22032, there was, is not a finished minute. This is on a motion by Councillor Pender, seconded by, but there was no name in there for seconded by. I just want to bring that to your attention, City Clerk. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Councillor Khan.
See, I am reading my package.
I know, but they're going to hit once before I say all in favor. That's the trick.
I was waiting for you to say business arising, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, that's the next one. There you go. Business arising besides the improper minutes. Anything there?
No,
Okay, good.
I'm fine.
Okay, proclamations. We had a couple things here. Of course, this month is Easter Seals Month, and whereas approximately 100,000 people of all ages in our province, all ages of our province, live with disabilities such as physical, sensory, cognitive, or other disabilities which present barriers to full participation in society. So therefore, support of the Council of Corner Brook, I signed and proclaimed this month, March, to be Easter Seals Month. And we had a nice proclamation and turnout here from Council as well. As well, March 8th, of course, we marked International Women's Day. And whereas International Women's Day is celebrated globally on March 8th by those who believe in gender equality and who seek to improve the lives of all women and girls, trans and cis, two-spirit, and gender diverse peoples through cultural, legal, economic, and social change. So on Women's Day, International Women's Day, we celebrate and encourage everyone to take action against gender bias and inequality in support of the 2022 theme, Break the Bias. So again, we had a good turnout for that, and some of our women here on staff. And of course, as a modern, progressive organization, we believe these things. We support these things. So good to see. I believe we live in a very progressive society as well, and our City Council reflects that. So thank you to those who participated in those. So first, I guess, Councillor Griffin, we have some statistics from our Protective Services Department.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On a monthly basis, Protective Services compiles its statistics to report them out to council and to residents. Our municipal enforcement officers received 83 calls for services, including as follows. Bylaw enforcement, there were 11 for rodent complaints, 20 calls to provide assistance, 5 calls for legal document service, 16 calls depositing snow into the road, and 8 calls for impeding snow clearing. Taxi regulation, there were 2 taxi driver permits issued and 2 taxi vehicle permits issued. Animal control received 8 calls for service. 8 calls for service were received that included 3 roaming animals, 3 injured deceased animals, 1 dog barking, and 1 person's failure to remove animal feces. Parking enforcement, 8 parking-related violations were issued that included 1 for no parking zone, 4 for overnight parking, and 3 for parked on private land. Cornbrook Fire Department received 36 calls for service that included 3 structure fires, 3rd Avenue, Country Road, and Killick Place, 7 commercial fire alarms, 5 residential fire alarms, 1 vehicle fire, 18 traffic collisions, 10 which incurred injuries, 2 required extrication, 1 pole fire, and a report of 1 wire being down. Cornbrook Fire Department Prevention Inspector conducted 3 capacity inspections, 4 commercial fire code inspections, investigated 1 fire complaint, and multiple questions and answers from businesses and the residents. Public safety answering point, the total volume of calls received by the Cornbrook PSAP for February 2022 was 4,556 calls. The calls were broken down as follows. Excuse me. Police, 689. Ambulance, 1,294. Fire, 159. Crisis, 10. ROCP, Registry of Canadian PSAPs, 6. Total transfer, 911 calls, 2,158. Volume of non-transferred 911 calls, 2,398.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on any of that? Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Rodents.
Roads.
You see that there's 11, and that's, to me, I would think that would be a lot in a month, but maybe it's not. Can somebody fill me in? And
Mr. Flynn?
Yes, over the last few years, that is becoming the number of rodent complaints we're getting per month in that area. When I started back here 6 years ago, we probably have 11 rodent complaints in a year. There's no doubt that rodents are increasing in our city, but I've been looking across the country in different jurisdictions, and this is consistent across the board. I don't know what's going on, but there is definitely an increase in rodents.
Yeah.
okay, can we let the public know what they should do if they see a rodent on their property besides faint?
Well, I guess from a jurisdictional point of view, we don't typically go on private property to do anything with rodents. But if we see something, again, Director Flynn, correct me if I'm
Yes,
wrong.
on city property, we will
Yeah.
provide a service to exterminate or assess the problem in that area. As for private homeowners, they would have to contact a contractor themselves.
Okay.
But if you see something like, for example, commonly around water courses or storm drains and things like that, quite often, or if it's a nuisance complaint, so if there's something like there's garbage being stockpiled on a private property, you can call down, and of course our MEOs can investigate those kind
And
of things.
that number would be 637-1666?
That's the magic number
Okay.
for everything. So
Okay.
it is, though, something, though, you're right, Deputy, that we're seeing a lot more of. And I think this has a lot to do with the same thing our weather has a lot to do with, climate change. We're seeing warmer winters and mild spells that we haven't seen before. That is not, that's not great for, I guess, keeping those types of populations down. Another thing that we're seeing is we're not seeing, and again, this is just purely off the top of my head, but we're not seeing as many roaming cats anymore like we used to. And I don't know if that affects things, but I would guess it does to a certain extent.
It does, no doubt.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on that report? Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to draw attention to the fact that we had 1,294 calls for ambulance. That seems like maybe that's normal, but to me that seems like a really high number for a city of our size.
Well, it's actually not,
oh,
sorry. It's actually not just Corner Brook.
I was just going to say.
This is from Nain to Salmon Air Line that our PSAP covers.
Oh, this is the transfer.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
I
yeah.
understand now, thank you. It would be interesting to know what the breakdown would be for our area. Anyway, I'm not meaning to make any extra work for that. So,
Thank you.
Yes, the director thanks you.
when you get a chance, like in 2 years. Oh, thank you.
Any other questions on that one? Okay, thank you. Next, we have, yes, I guess, Councillor Griffin, we have some information as well on the incident that happened at Marble and our involvement with it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On March 5th, 2022, the Cornbrook Fire Department was dispatched to respond to Marble Mountain to assist the ski resort with rescuing persons trapped at heights on a broken-down chairlift. Upon arrival, the responding crew immediately deployed along with the Marble Mountain crew to start removing people from the high lift chairs. The ski resort safety team were lead agency, and the Cornbrook Fire Department was there to assist. A backup shift was called in along with extra high-angle trained firefighters. In the past year, the Cornbrook Fire Department has conducted high-angle marble training in conjunction with rescue safety staff at the ski resort. Training has not taken place recently, and as of current, we have no agreement to provide service given this is out of Cornbrook jurisdiction. The director will be meeting with the ski resorts Richard Wells and Richard Cormier on Thursday, March the 17th, 2022, to have a follow-up interview of our response and future response requirements. Final impact, this response did result in a cost of manpower for the department, and as of late, there is no agreement in place to collect our cost. The recommendation to ensure that the Cornbrook Fire Department remains current with emergency response requirements of the Marble Mountain Ski Resort. The alternate implications to ensure compliance with the City of Cornbrook out of jurisdiction policy.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on that one?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So, we responded to this call, and it says that it did result in cost of manpower for the department. As of late, there is no agreement in place to collect the cost. I think this speaks to the overall issue of us becoming a regional emergency services hub for this entire area. And I know that our staff are looking at, I think they are looking at with the review of what we're earning right now in other centers. Is that right?
I think that's pretty easy to answer.
It is very easy to answer, actually. The only actual agreement that we have in place right now is with Mount Moriah.
Okay. And so I think it behooves us now to use opportunities such as this and also the request from Humber Valley Resort to really take a look at what we are providing to people. I mean, we're not going to sit by and see anyone hurt done by, but it behooves us as a city to be prepared for future requests such as this one, which there was nothing in place for this one. So I think that we really do need to sit down and see how we are going to service this area, because if we're not going to do it, I don't know who's going to do it. That's tell me, thank you.
Yep. Yes, go ahead, Deputy.
Just to add on to that, I guess, and just add my 2 cents worth, I guess I would consider what happened at Marble Mountain a one-off situation. It certainly wasn't going to be like we were on call for be first responder to a fire or whatever. This is a one-off, and if I remember, or correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time this has happened in many, many years. Actually, and for our fire department to go up there and help out, and thank God nobody was hurt, nobody was injured. So our team went up there and provided that as a one-off, I consider.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have many of those. I mean,
No.
I don't know how many we've had from Mount Moriah.
None so far this year. We usually see probably at least 2 a year
Right.
from Mount Moriah.
And we've had one, I think, when we did respond to Humber Valley. I think it was one in about 6 years.
Yes, that's correct.
And so, like, these are, truthfully, I guess, that we're very fortunate, and I don't like to jinx it, but we don't have to go out for many, full-scale emergencies generally, but it's nice to know when we do have backup in place, and we do call in the next shift, and we're always protected, so there's no need for anyone to worry about that. We have it all in place, so.
Mr. Mayor, can I-
Yes.
Yeah, this was the point I was making too. Once we go on the highway, it really doesn't matter where we're going. Right? So Marble may be a one-out, but we're still going up the highway. We're still going out to the lands. We're still, once we leave and get on that divided highway, it doesn't really matter where we're going. The cost starts. That's where I was just coming with that. That's all.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's, like Councillor had said, we really need to give this a look at.
Okay.
Pay some attention to it. Yes.
Any other thoughts on that one? Good?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, before I forget, we have regrets from Councillor Pender. He could not be here this evening. We have as well, I guess, on your plate, Councillor Griffin, requests for taxi rates increases because of fuel costs.
Again, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city has been approached by Mr. Wade King, representing our 3 taxi companies, City Taxi, Star Taxi, and Corner Taxi, requesting that city permit the taxi companies to implement a fuel surcharge to the current taxi rates. Over the past several months, taxi owners have been significant increases in fuel costs that is challenging the feasibility of their operations. To help deal with this added fuel cost, our taxi companies are requesting that the city permit the addition of a $2 fuel surcharge when their fuel costs exceed $1.65 per liter. The fee schedule depicting current taxi rates is as follows. Current taxi rate, the drop rate is $4.13 per, I guess that's 1.25 kilometers, 26 cents, and for waiting is 34.5 cents.
$34.
Yeah, okay.
41 cents.
Okay. The final impact, the increase will not have direct financial impact to the city. However, taxi users will experience the increase directly. Recommendation to ensure that the Corner Brook taxi industry remains sustainable while raising cost of operation in the city of Corner Brook. Is this for a vote?
No, we're just, I think this request came in, and I would imagine that, okay, we have a taxi bylaw right now, and the rates and things are set out there, so if we want to do something with this, it'll have to come forward with a notice of motion and go through that way. But for tonight, of course, it's a committee of the whole, so it's an opportunity for councillors to express their thoughts on this and give staff some direction on which way we'd like to go. So I don't know who would like to begin. Yes, Councillor.
I'll begin, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'm assuming, obviously, that this is a direct result of the recent hikes in gas that we've all seen at pumps. And I just want to put out there that I really feel for our taxi drivers, and I know that a lot of times some of the costs come out of pocket for them. And at the same time, I feel for their patrons who have to get in the cab and fund that cost. So I guess the way I look at it is, if you don't own a car and you're using a taxi service, or if you own a car and you can't use it for whatever reason and you're using a taxi service, it's only fair that you pay the extra money when you get in the cab that you would have ended up paying anyway if you pump gas into your car. And we shouldn't look at taxi services as a free ride. I think that they are funding the same costs that anyone that owns a car owns. So
Okay.
that's it for me.
Thank you. And just a clarification, I guess, that $2 that's being requested would be on the drop rate, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, any other thoughts on this one?
Can we define what a drop rate is for our audience?
I assume that's the rate that starts the meter.
That's exactly right,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
So
The base
Mr. Mayor,
rate.
when you get in,
Sit
instead
in
of
the
$4,
vehicle.
It's going to say $6.
That would be the change, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, I just have a quick comment, Mr. Mayor. You know, I agree with Councillor that, all of the industries over the last little while have been affected adversely by COVID, and now in most recent weeks with the exorbitant rise of fuel costs, we've all felt it in our pocketbooks, and taxi drivers are no different. Other industries have been able, without regulation, to be able to go and increase rates on whether it's food or whatever it might be, and it's always hard on people's pocketbooks, and we all feel for everyone. But at the same time, you have these taxi drivers that are dipping into their pockets as well to put extra gas in their vehicles, but also not getting as much out of their the dollar value that they're putting in. So they're hurting as well. So we need to give it some consideration. I know it's not for a vote here this evening, but like I said, a future meeting in the next little while, I guess this will come back for a vote of some sort.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I just like to, my comment on that too would be like, for me, if I had to buy more gas for my vehicle, I have the option, I can park, I can make a schedule as to when I use my car, right? But this is their way they make their living. So they don't have that opportunity. They have to go. If they don't go, they don't make any money. So I think that should come in. That should be a part of the equation as well.
Okay. Any other thoughts? I would say that this is a real delicate balance because, as everyone said, this is their livelihood. We control the price by regulation, so it's not you don't have much choice here. The other side of it is, of course, there is a lot of people who use this as a lifeline to the community. So just like transit, taxi rides are a very important part of getting around our community for a lot of our people, a lot of our citizens, especially senior citizens. So the only question I would have about this, and I'm wondering maybe Director Flynn, if this is a floating, so this is based on a rate of gas, is there other jurisdictions that would do it based on the per kilometer rate? Like, for example, do it as a floating scale based on that?
I haven't started a major research on this yet, so I can't truly answer that question as of yet. That is something I will look at as well, though.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a practical issue with how often you can adjust the meters. But if this is a direct cost related to how far they have to go, of course, not necessarily a set cost. But I recognize there is some practical issue with adjusting those meters, for sure.
Right.
Yes.
And the other thing I would add, Mr. Mayor, is where the $2 thing came from. Like, was it just an arbitrary choice for $2? Should it be $3? Should it be $1?
Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, I can answer that next time.
Thank you.
Because I do believe St. John's has done something, or it was considering something like this. I saw the news.
I've heard through the grapevine that St. John's is considering a similar type addition to their bylaw. So I will. I've reached out to them. I just haven't got a response yet. So.
Okay.
And Mr. Mayor, this is not surprising to me that this is
No.
to us. There's so many people that are suffering.
Absolutely. Fuel prices are top of mind these days. Any other thoughts here? You good? Okay, thank you. Next, we have an update. Councillor Granter, we have some, information. It's really follow-up information from our sidewalk chat a few weeks back.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, this is a follow-up from our last discussions that Mr. Burden gave at the last meeting. For the 2022 construction season, Public Works, Water, and Wastewater has allocated the budget of $400,000 for new sidewalk and sidewalk rehabilitation based on the sidewalk condition survey that was completed in 2021 and presented to Council at the last meeting. The primary areas of focus for the 2022 season will be sidewalks in school zones. Just $400,000 will be gas tax funding. In addition to the $400,000, a further $205,000 has been allocated for sidewalk reinstatement in areas where sidewalk removal was necessary for various infrastructure repairs. Also, $400,000 has been allocated for asphalt patching repairs outside the asphalt paving program. This money will be used to repair water and wastewater cuts in a more timely manner and repair sections of roadway containing excessive potholes. And this, Mr. Mayor, is allocation in Budget 2022. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
And I do have, after discussion on that one, I just want to give a quick update on snow clearing too, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
I got to go to a different screen here now. So if you want to have a conversation perhaps on that. No, here we go. Just to follow up with regard to an update on snow clearing. We all know it's been a brutal winter for snow, rain, and freezing, and then more snow. And it's been challenging for all of our workers, and I know challenging for our residents as well. So the second round of snow blowing was completed in the city on March the 11th, 2022. The third round has commenced, and to date the following has either been started or completed: Sunny Slope, Elizabeth, Gillums Road, Pratt Street, Windsor Street, Wheelers Road, Phillip Drive, Bayview Heights, Westmount Road, Walsh Street, and Crestview Avenue. And Carter Avenue and the rest of Pratt Street. I know Pratt Street was done this past weekend on one side, and it was completed this afternoon as I drove in that area today. The blower on Sunny Slope Drive will be heading to Brookfield and East Valley once Sunny Slope is complete. And the department will continue to blow as long as the weather permits over the next little while, Mr. Mayor. And Mr. Burton and I have had some discussions at committee level that at the end of the season, Mr. Burton is going to work on a report for council of this committee and for council, just to give us an update on how we did with regard to snow clearing, the challenges that we faced, the good things that have happened, but also an indication of where we are with regard to downtime and maintenance, our equipment, and those kinds of things, so we can get a real picture about where we are, if we need to put more money into snow clearing for winters like this, if we need to look at some of our equipment and any changes that we need to make, because we all know it's been a real tough winter on equipment, on personnel, on all of us, and surely on a lot of residents, because we've all had lots of phone calls and text messages from residents with regard to condition of streets, so on and so forth. So that report will come to council, Mr. Mayor, at a later date.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Questions on either of those issues there?
Just a comment if I could.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, like, Mr. Burton, maybe, you did that last report on the sidewalks and stuff. Just give the residents some idea as to how your thinking is when it comes to plowing. Like when you're saying, when I've been saying now we're going to plow now, or we're going to take off the plows and put on the buckets, and
Yes, we actually have a service standard that we use. So that was generated probably back about 10 years ago. So our foreman basically, they keep track of the weather. If the forecast is for 2 to 5 centimeters, we'll monitor that. That amount of snow could be probably burnt off with salt. In excess of 5 centimeters, salt's pretty ineffective. So at that point, we'll put the plows out. Our attack is the main roads and any of the collector roads that feed into the hospital. So they'll be done first, and then if the weather permits, we'll move on to the secondary roads. In a day like today, we probably plowed the primary roads 2 to 3 times before we'll even touch the secondary roads. Our goal, our service standard says the small secondary roads we have 24 hours to get them plowed once the snow stops. This year we've got that down to almost 12 hours. That's kind of how we approach it. The sidewalks, we try to basically follow the same rule. We try to plow them as soon as we can get out. It's the same operators we use for the plows and the blowers as we use for the sidewalk plow. So, in a big storm, it's not always possible to get the sidewalks done in conjunction with the main roads, but try to follow up as quickly as we can.
Yeah, situations where, like, I've had a few calls over my time here, and like they would say take the Curly area where I'm from, the plow was down, they did it this street, that street, and then it left and didn't have the other ones done. If I'm hearing what you're saying to be right, like if we had a plow on the main street and there was an issue with it that had to be removed, then you would obviously have to take a plow out of the
Yeah, so like I said, if we had we had a few centimeters of snow, we'd plow the mains, then we'd go off onto the secondary, and we might not get all the secondary or smaller streets done before we got to go back on the mains. So that, you know, we, at some point, we had to leave off. You know, it's unfortunate. We could have Georgetown Road plowed and Sam's and Young's and all them smaller roads off. We may have to stop and go back on the main. So it looks like we just forgot them,
Yeah.
but it's not the case. You know, we will get back as soon as we get the main clear.
Yeah, I think it's good to have that information up there.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. And just a reminder, guys, I hate to be a stickler, but remember, address everything to the chair, and I'll dole it out. This is a very much more informal kind of meeting because it is committee of the whole.
Yeah.
But
I
just to
apologize.
keep it in order, it's okay. We'll just knock it off your paycheck. It has been a very, you're right, Councillor Granter, it's been a very difficult year for sure. I know these freeze thaws are killing us. You know, I see the same problems up around my way and closer in the snow belt, where you see like thaws, where you get big trenches across your road. Of course, we can't scrape that down right away because, as Mr. Burden said, we've got to plow with those plows. We've got to deal with all those issues. But we're not sparing expense on this, so I want to make sure everyone knows that we're not here counting our pennies on this. It's really just a matter of using the manpower, person power. It's International Women's Day, of course. That's right.
No manpower
And and the equipment that we have. We can't just go buy a new loader, or we just can't do that. That's not how it works. So we have to use what we have for the season, and this has been a particularly rough year. So please, we appreciate everyone's patience. If you do see an issue, of course, as we mentioned earlier, 637-1666 is the best way to get your issue to the people who can actually do something about it. So, you know, I really appreciate our crews out there. They've been doing a great job in a very frustrating year. So thank you for that. Yes, Deputy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It certainly has been a difficult year with the snow and COVID and everything else. During the last, I guess, snowstorm that we had, I had a number of calls, probably 4 calls, dealing with hydrants on people's property and not being shoveled out and things like that. So I don't know if you could ask for me. I know who does it, but once again, if the director could answer what protocol we should do if we see it, and I would think I'm telling them to call 1666 again.
Absolutely.
To report it. But what would be the protocol in getting a hydrant cleaned up? Because there was numerous ones the last storm. Thank you.
Yeah. And Mr. Burden, I guess, how would we, 1666, if you see an issue?
Yeah, like our water and sewer division is responsible for the snow clearing of the hydrants. Again, this year has been a challenge because you know, we're getting snow, and then by the time we get out to get them cleared, it's rained and frozen. So it's been a slower year for us to get the hydrants dug out. You know, we always start in the high areas and work our way down because that's typically where the most snow is. But like I said, 637-1666. Hydrant clearing is a little different than snow clearing. Snow clearing, we stick pretty tight to our routes and our order of roads that we do. However, it's, you know, with a couple of crews out doing hydrants, it's a lot easier to jump around to do hydrants that are particularly bad in particular areas. So 1666 should get a crew there within a few days for sure.
Yes.
And if the public sees it, there's nothing to stop anybody from grabbing a shovel and clearing one out, Mr. Because
And if they do,
they can register it.
they can register to win
Absolutely.
Then they
snowblower.
can do them all.
We're going to be drawing for a snowblower by the end of the month, Mr. Mayor.
Right.
So, because stuff is unionized, and I have mentioned that to people, you know, grab your shovel, and they were like, well, I'm going to get in trouble. And I was like, no, you won't get in trouble. Not at all.
Not at all. Yes.
I just think a point that I'd like to make too, just because the hydrant may not be accessible, still doesn't mean that our guys won't use it. You know, like, if it's snowed in, we can still use it. This just makes everything go smoother and faster. Our guys are prepared for anything. So if the hydrant is snowed in, you know, we can fix that.
And of course, we do quite often We do pick and choose which hydrant we want to use if they're in proximity because of pressure issues and things like that. And so I would imagine that there are certain ones that are more critical than others, and that we would put priority on those, of course. So, and we do, of course, carry water.
That's correct.
So we're ready to go as soon as we get on scene. Yeah. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we have an update from Engineering Development Planning. This is more capital works type issues. Councillor Gill.
Can I just mention something before?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Councillor Gill was in a conflict of interest
Yep.
on dealing with anything with the Corner Brook Regional Recreation Centre due to the fact that she works at the university.
That's right.
Does that follow through tonight on the update she's giving?
It's not any decision, just more for information purposes. We felt that there was no
Yeah.
conflict based on that, but if there's any decision making, we would certainly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This contract is awarded, so I think.
Yes, I knew she had asked a
Yeah.
question, but I
And-
never
and,
saw an
Yeah,
answer.
Councillor Gill is sensitive to that issue, so.
Yeah.
Yes, we don't want to give her the boot.
No, and
That's right.
I don't want to give her the boot, but the thing is that you did ask the question in an email, but I never saw a response.
Oh, I responded to her.
Okay.
And the council wants to make a decision.
No, I just didn't get an answer onto what had happened, okay?
No, we're
Thank
good
you.
there. Thank you. Though, thank you for that. That's important that we are transparent, though, and if there are any issues like that, we should definitely
Bring it up.
them up. Yeah, that's good.
Sometimes reply to all is good.
That's right. Go ahead. So you go ahead. Tell us about what's doing with the pool.
Some great stuff going on. First, I want to say thank you to Mr. Charters for preparing this report for us tonight. And it makes me happy to be able to report on this because, you know, as it was raised, I am in a conflict when it comes to voting and so on, but I'm happy to share the information. So when it comes to the Corner Brook Regional Recreation Center, the design build contract with Carmelo was on site early last week, which was really exciting to see them there, to prepare for the mobilization of the work crews this week. Once on site this week, the contractor will begin work required to commence the full-scale mobilization of the work crews. So there's 3 stages. The first one is mobilization preparatory construction, which is where we are right now, which includes snow removal, installation of construction fencing, setting up work trailers, establishing site access, establishing pedestrian corridors, the kinds of things that we see when a construction site is being set up. Stage 2 will be the relocation of utilities, so storm sewer, water main, road widening, excavation for the footprint of the new building, and parking lot construction. And stage 3 will be the actual building. So demolition were required, foundation work, structural steel, roofing systems, and closing in the building, interior work, pool, water slide. I'm looking forward to the water slide. And the final commissioning of the project when it's finally done. The completion date is going to be fall of 2023. Really looking forward to that. The Mount Bernard rebuild project. The design phase was recently awarded to Dillon Consulting, and it's proceeding as planned with a scheduled tender date of April 18th. It's expected the project, full roadway and services rebuild, will be completed over 2 construction seasons. And that falls in line with the completion of the new hospital, so that'll be awesome to have that thoroughfare in good condition. Finally, the new integrated municipal sustainability plan, and we got to come up with a better name for that, the IMSP and development regulations. Upland Consulting has completed a number of important milestones for the project and is now moving on to the final stage of the project. Using the input and direction from council, the public, and major stakeholders, the consultant will now draft the final report and development regulations. Once the draft document is completed, it will be submitted for further comment before being finalized. So looking forward to having that new plan and being all sustainable and all those good things. And hopefully everybody has a chance to feed into that. Yeah.
Yes.
And that is for me.
Thank you. Any questions on any of those items?
Yeah, Mr.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, just a question on the development of the Mount Bernard Avenue rebuild project in anticipation of the hospital. The current consultant, I mean, that's a huge project. It's a wonderful project, but it's a huge project that's taking place, as was in the presentation tonight, over a 2-year period. What consideration has been given with regard to traffic flow? That's pretty much the center part of town. Hub, you have a couple malls down there. We have a junior high, middle school, over there, and lots of traffic in the mornings. People going back and forth to downtown. What consideration is given for traffic flow? Will Mount Bernard Avenue be totally shut down? Portions of it shut down, obviously, on times. Where are we with that? Or if it's too much in its infancy right now to even be able to give an answer to that? Because I'm sure you get residents that live along the street, and other people around the city would, when we did the bridge down here a few years ago, there was some issues with regard to traffic flow, and that's a huge project over there as well. So,
Mr. Charles?
what's the
Through you,
thought on it?
Mr. Mayor. I'm glad somebody asked that question. Being a traffic engineer, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. That will be a task for the designer, is to figure out ways to mitigate the impact. From what I understand, it's a deep, wide dig, so to keep the roads open are going to be very difficult, but we may be able to put sections at a time as you go down, like we did with West Valley, for example. So those are all things a consultant needs to work out, and we'll definitely have input on that process.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions on this report? Again, good to see these. These are both, the construction projects, of course, are crucial projects for our city, for our hospital and for our new recreation center, of course. But it's good to see things getting kicked off, and I'm really excited to hear that that's going so quickly with the tender for the Mount Bernard project. I didn't expect that, so good. Okay, thank you. Councillor Keeping, we have some information on cleanup.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Community cleanup. The City of Corner Brook is pleased to announce that we recently received a $5,000 grant from the Multi-Material Stewardship Board for the Come-O-Mere Committee Cleanup Project. This money will be used to expand our annual Cleanup Corner Brook program for the month of May. The current program is focused on the downtown area and along major corridors in the city. Last year, individuals picked up bags of garbage and received one entry ballot for each bag of garbage collected, increasing their odds to win cash or prizes. This year, we want to expand that program to include other areas such as waterfronts, beaches, and trails. We expect a lot of guests to visit our city this year, as we want to have an extra push to clean up our city before guests arrive. Stay tuned for more details.
Thank you. Any questions on that item? The cleanup time is, before you know it, there won't be any snow here, and it'll be all that dirt and sand that Public Works so graciously gave us, covering everything, and it'll reveal all the sins of the winter in terms of garbage and cans and cups and all those things. So this is good news.
In relation to that,
Yeah.
not to put Mr. Burden on the spot, where are we with regard to, we were supposed to get a new piece of equipment this year, sweeper. I know it came up in our previous meeting a while back. Where are we with regard to delivery of that piece of equipment?
They ensure us it'll be here before the end of March.
In March.
Good. Okay, any other?
Yeah,
Yes?
I just want to wonder, like, if we could, as a council, write the, like, remember when we used to have those free days for the dump,
Yep.
for cleanup and stuff? And I think we haven't had that for the last little bit. I'm just wondering if we could, I don't know, send a letter to see if we can revisit that and maybe, be an option, for the year.
Actually, Mr. Charters, what's our plan for bulk cleanup? Same as usual?
Bulk cleanup, yes, the same. We currently do not have any plans hadn't had any plans to approach the landfill, but we can certainly do that.
Yeah, we could get, Western Regional Waste Management,
Yes.
as we know, runs the regional dump there at Wild Cove, so there may be some opportunity if we get the board in place. I know we're still waiting to get that sorted, and waiting on the provincial government there. But it would be good to have, and potentially, maybe there's a way we could sponsor access to the dump for, citizens of Corner Brook, say. Because I know that that's, that money that we have to pay when we go to them is a disincentive for some people, and it goes against exactly what Councillor Keeping was talking about, and cleaning up our trails and our off-road areas. So, yeah, it's definitely something that we could look into. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank
Mayor?
you. Yes.
I think we have our first meeting on Wednesday
Oh, okay.
with Western Waste Management.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So,
11 o'clock.
pardon me?
I think 11 a.m.
Yep.
Excellent.
So,
Good.
time to get our letter out now.
Good, strong representation on the board. Right? Good. Okay, any other questions there? Okay, and also, Councillor Keeping, we've had a few meetings about our summer. Very exciting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City of Corner Brook is excited to announce that the Jigs and Wheels Summer Festival is a goal for 2022, just in time for the province's come home year. Residents and visitors are encouraged to mark their calendars for a week packed full of events and concerts between July 15th to July 24th, 2022. While many more details are in the works, we're pleased to say the following will be a part of the activities. A street festival on July 16th, Corner Brook Day will be on July 23rd, Red Fest will be from July 22nd to 24th, and the Classic Car Show will be on July 23rd. Local tourism companies will be offering exciting backcountry experiences throughout that week. We'll see live music, movies, and performances in public spaces each evening, as well as lots of ATV and mountain bike adventures for locals and visitors alike. For more information as it becomes available, keep an eye on our social media channels as well as on our website. Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds good. Any questions on that?
Just a comment, but just, it's
Yes.
nice, you kind of feel like it's getting back to normal.
Yep, today, of course, is a big day from a legal, regulatory point of view. I know a lot of people are still nervous and wearing their masks and things, which is understandable. But hopefully, by the summer, people will be in the mood to party for come home year. It's good. Okay. Any other thoughts, comments? Excellent. Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor, we have, related to that, we have a request from Music NL for their events.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Music NL hosts music celebration week each year. This week will be full of award presentations and showcases to recognize the diverse musical talent and music industry dedicated in Newfoundland and Labrador. Celebration is hosted by different locations in Newfoundland. Music NL goal is to host a 2022 celebration in the city of Corner Brook. So we have a resolution here. Be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Corner Brook offer financial support to Music NL in the amount of $10,000. I so move.
Thank you. Okay, someone like to second that?
Second that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Questions on this one?
Mr. Mayor, not a question, but I'll just make a comment. Spoke earlier this evening with regard to the impact COVID has had on businesses and everyone in our society. And everyone has been felt the impact, but every day in the media, from time to time, you listen to our artists across the province who so much spirit and show the traditions and the culture and the history of the province. And they've been hit really, really hard, as everyone knows, and since I've been able to especially be able to perform live. So I think something like this, Mr. Mayor, of having ceremony events in the city for a week long would assist in at least some of these artists perhaps to be able to perform. It will draw people to a downtown core. It will draw people to go out and go to the establishments along with the Come Home Year celebrations. I think it's a good project to support for the city, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Yeah, I think you're right, Councillor Granter. That is the spin-off of this as well, of course, for our local restaurants, bars, other performing arts venues is a good way to jumpstart these type of events again. So it's a full week, and it was supposed to be here actually a few years back, but there were some issues with the event, and it's good to see it back. So any other questions or comments before we?
Any indication on what dates we're referring to for this event? Did it say it in the briefing?
It says in their application, it's an October, November kind of time period. Yeah, so it is a good time from a, yeah. Okay, any other thoughts, questions? No, excellent. Okay, well, let's take it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Counterminded? Carried. Okay. Now, we don't have Councillor Pender here. Perhaps Councillor Gill, would you do the honors of reading this bit of background for us?
So, in accordance with the City of Corner Brook Act, Council has the authority to appoint standing or special...
No, not this one, the
That's
one.
not the one.
No, the grant one, right before.
The grant one.
They look all the
The
same.
standing committee is yours.
That's right.
Okay, sorry. They all look the same.
Yeah.
The links do, anyway. Okay, the grant policy, yes. The city's current grant policy was last revised July 30th, 2015. The city typically receives requests from various organizations and community groups for various projects, events, and to provide operational support. This policy is essential for establishing transparent and objective guidelines to determine eligibility and outline procedure for the city to provide financial support to community organizations. Staff have identified that the current grant policy is in need of review to better improve upon the grant approval process. Staff have reviewed various grant policies in other municipalities and have incorporated some of the best practices to a new proposed draft policy, which we all had well, not all of us, but several of us had the opportunity to have a little chat about that. Some of these changes include identifying the different types of grants and corresponding criteria, identifying operational grants as standing grants that will fall under the departmental budget, identifying eligible and ineligible applicants and projects. Council will be responsible for determining the annual operating budget for the municipal grants. Finance and administration will be responsible for overseeing the application, eligibility, and the overall grant process. Staff committee will be comprised to review and make recommendation based on the application. And grant awards up to $1,000 shall be paid in full, while grant awards exceeding $1,000 shall be paid in installments of 25% upfront and 75% upon completion of the event and the project. At a Finance and Administration Committee meeting on March the 8th, the proposed changes were brought forward for committee review, and based upon that review, staff are bringing forward a draft policy for council's further review. If council is in agreement, the current grant policy is to be rescinded and replaced with the new proposed grant policy once finalized.
Perfect, thank you very much. Yes, so this has undergone a little bit of, I guess, practical changes over the last number of years, especially during COVID. There are a number of things. I don't know who would like to start. If any questions or comments on some of these changes, and yes, go ahead.
I think it's great that we're updating our policy, and I think it's going to provide greater clarity to the folks that are applying for funding from us. The city obviously needs to support various groups, but it's great that we're providing the terms that they need to comply with in order to get the funding. I find the policy very clear as it stands right now.
Okay, thank you. Any other thoughts? Yes.
I'm just looking at the numbers here. I'm just wondering if, like, the grants exceeding 1,000 shall be paid in installments of 25% upfront, 75% when it's completed. I'm just wondering if we should switch that around, because I'm just thinking they may need the money up front more than when it's over.
Yeah, and I guess I noticed that it says with the exception of neighborhood grants.
Yeah.
But now that is $1,000 grants anyway. I don't know any other thoughts on that.
I'm not involved with it.
I understand what you're saying in terms of, because you need seed money, but we also want accountability, so we want to make sure, of course, that,
Mr. Mayor, maybe we could go 50-50?
yeah, that seems, Yeah, and I guess that's, it could be a few $1,000s we're talking about, or not a lot of money, but, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I understand where they're coming from on this. I just think you would probably need the money up front more so than, like all the expenses setting up and then, finish out with it rather than give the big sum when it's all done, because, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just throw it
No,
out there.
that's a good point. Anything else? I think the big thing is that we're realizing that we have over the last 4 or 5 years tried to change things so that we're aligning with our corporate goals somewhat. So projects that involve tourism or green projects or healthy community projects would fall under certain things. This policy doesn't outline that necessarily, but we are trying to make it so that we can give money to organizations and groups that can turn it into the most. Any other questions? Comments? Okay. So we'll let this sit, I guess, let staff and try and get together a policy for a decision in the meeting soon. Okay?
Yep.
Good. Thank you. We have here, we had, of course, it came up, I think, last meeting. Councillor Granter, you requested the staff have a look at our committee structure.
That's correct.
Yes, so I guess the staff have had a look, and, you can read your package. Basically, the vast majority of councils like us do use a committee of the whole structure. A lot of smaller municipalities do use departmental structure. You'll see, I guess, there has been some transformation over the last few years in how we do our business, and I think that generally, I think it's safe to assume that we all value transparency and accountability from the council. And looking at other jurisdictions like us, most of them would conduct their business in a format like this we see tonight. So whereas instead of having 4 or 5 different departmental committees behind closed doors, bring all the business to a meeting like this. Sometimes that may mean a longer meeting, but that seems to be the way things go. I don't know. I know that I'm sure that Marina and Rodney would prefer council give some direction in terms of any of the issues that council sees with the way we currently do business, so that we can incorporate that into a new system. So if there are certain things, I guess, that we'd like to see more of or see less of, I think that the staff would like to hear it. Yes, go ahead.
Make some comments on it, and one of the reasons why I brought this back here now, I know that there was some discussion about going to back to the regular committees, and if that's council's will, and that's what we'll prepare. But I wanted to give this. This is certainly something that we gave a lot of thought to, and it's a system that we prefer, not just me, but all staff and Marina as the clerk. It's not a system that I was familiar with before I worked in Alberta, and it worked very, very well. It was just as long in meetings, but not as many meetings, because you would typically have a 3 to 4 hour committee of the whole meeting on the alternate week of when you would have a council meeting. So it was structured basically like this one, where you would just see with the grants policy we had, we would come here and discuss that. No decision would be made. Council would have a chance to ask questions at that meeting or send along some information after like they would like us to consider before we brought it back for a decision. And that way it was more open and transparent. And I gave it some thought as I think about how I set up my management meetings with my staff. I don't sit down. I do have meetings with them individually, but I also have a meeting once a week, twice a week, once just to brief what we're going to do the week on Monday morning. And the other time is a full meeting where we have an agenda. And everybody's encouraged to comment on other people's departments. And to do this for a number of reasons, because I think that it helps in us making a better decision. And number one is that when you know, I probably know already what Darren wants to do in his department. But the other people are looking at it, you know, from a different area of expertise. And also, sometimes just as a layperson, well, you can't do that because, you know, this is the implications that we hadn't thought of. So that works very, very well. And when I think of the committee as a whole, I think that's kind of similar to that. So I don't know if you have any more questions. I will thank Marina because she did most of the research on this. And the back.
Yeah. So I guess if we have questions or comments or ideas here, this is a good time to bring them forward for sure.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, as well, sorry.
No, go ahead.
When we, in the last meeting, I guess this was the last meeting that we brought this forward, or at least I brought it forward for discussion, and we gave staff direction, you know, to come back around Thursday of Easter week, I believe it was. And even the points that are brought out here that we received on Friday, and I've gone through them numerous times, there's a fair bit of stuff there to absorb. So we're not voting on this particular thing tonight, but I was going to suggest that if councillors got any points to bring forward over the coming days, put them in an email and send them off to you, Rodney, and or Marina. Any thoughts on anything? Is that the direction that you're asking?
Absolutely.
To give you some direction? Whether we, at the end of the day, whether we go the route that you're proposing or some other route or somewhere in between or wherever we end up on that particular day. So you're asking us to bring back or some direction, some comments about what we would like to see.
Yes.
I think at the end of the day, I'll speak for myself, at the end of the day, and I'm enjoying this particular meeting this evening, but at the end of the day, it's about having all of the information that I need in order to make the kinds of decisions that's important to be made, whether that's through the committee structure that I brought out in the last meeting or some other structure totally different, or this current structure. The idea is to have as much information, all of the information that's pertinent and available, and present it. And if there's a time elapse from the time we have one meeting to another meeting, but yet it's getting that information so we can have the debate. And I don't mind debating in public and being transparent, because transparency is where we need to be. And I agree with it 100%. But it's having the information to fully be able to make the kinds of decisions we need to make. And, that might be the direction. It could be another direction. But I will certainly look at this in the coming days and send off some emails back and forth with my point of view to assist staff in what direction they may want to go.
Yes, and we wanted to come back early because we didn't want to bring something in 45 days that council didn't want, so we wanted to have some debate along the way.
Yeah, I think, and again, I think that's fair. Yes. Anyone else? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also have experience in managerial meetings as you described, Rodney, and what we usually do, once we have two sections of our office, research and media, and so we meet once a week, and we all share with each other because we all bring different perspectives to the table and can help each other sometimes when people may not be aware that there are opportunities to work together. So I certainly don't know any different than what we have right now as a counselor. This is what I came into. And just as far from my opinion, I feel like I have information. I feel like if I have a question, I call, I get the information. I feel like it's my job to make sure I have the information. So I'm cool with how we're doing it.
And there was another part of this as well. If there's ways outside of any ways that we can figure that you guys can suggest, as council can suggest any ideas that we could do to make getting information to you better and clearer. Certainly, we realize that there's always room for improvement, and there's things that we need to better inform council of. And if there's a way to do this within this committee, and certainly that's the way. That's one way, and if council decides another direction, of course, that's another way. But certainly, any feedback that you have on how to improve the information flow, I did mention a couple of things. I'm going to start to be a little bit more detailed on the reports and send in the city manager report for at least once a month so that you guys know some of the things that we're up to that we may take for granted that,
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
No, I'll send my comments, Mr. Mayor, to the city manager.
Okay. I would like to say that and again, I am a big fan of Committee of the Whole. I think that we could definitely make improvements here. Like Councillor Granter, I am a big proponent of doing things in public and talking about what's important to us in public. And the problem, I guess, I've seen with the old committees that were done previous to 2017 is that they are done behind closed doors. We did try to revive them in chambers and as well, and that didn't work out at the time. It is important to do our business in public. The other thing is it doesn't accomplish, I think one of the things that I heard last time when we talked about this was getting everyone on the same page. And so the fact, I guess, that we have these we used to have these departmental committees, and usually there would be 2 councillors appointed to each committee. And while other councillors were welcome to join those committees or come and sit in on those committees, it rarely happened in my experience. And I don't know, and Marina, I think in your experience that's true too. So whereas with the Committee of the Whole structure, if you think about it like we're doing committee, so we're doing the same things we do at committee, but you're doing it all together, all at once. And we have been a little bit, and I don't know, I understand St. John's had some time to try and figure it out when they brought it in 2017. I think that we have strayed from the format from time to time. So we've mixed in our regular council kind of make a decision business too much with our bring up a topic that is still needs work and we need discussion on in our Committee of the Whole meetings. So I think that if we could stick to that format a bit better, where we do have an opportunity, whether it's taxi regulations or policy on grants and things like that, and talk about them without the pressure of having to make a decision right now while we're sitting in these seats, go back home, think about it, and then be able to come back and debate the issue and make a good decision rather than one that's pressed. So it is interesting. I know myself looking around at a lot of the jurisdictions in the back of this package here. There's a lot of interesting ways that other municipalities are doing it, and variations on the Committee of the Whole. So having referral committees and things like that. But I think, the one thing that I will stand on and that I think is the most important thing is transparency. I think that other jurisdictions have been doing a better job than us historically, but it's just a sign of the times. It's the progression of local government and doing your business in public, and especially now, again, with the demise of a lot of our local media, as we've seen this past week. More and more, it's going to be important for us to put out what we're doing, what we're talking about out there, whether it's on Facebook, through Rogers, any opportunities, BOIR, all of our partners. And so if we can accomplish those things, I think we'll do it. But please, yes, send your comments in to Rodney and Marina, and again, they'll bring forward a tighter recommendation for where we should go. And we'll bring it forward to a regular council meeting for a proper decision. Right? Yeah, go ahead. You haven't spoken yet.
No, I haven't spoken. I wasn't going to.
Yeah.
I guess emails is not a very good way to I guess get our information, and picking up the phone and calling a director looking for the information. That is probably not a great way either. I'm not sure exactly how the directors feel about everybody calling them and texting them and talking to them and that kind of thing. I mean, every director over there has work to do. So if I'm emailing on a regular basis or texting or calling, then how much am I taking away from there? So where do I get the information from them?
Yeah.
But is that transparent?
Well, asking questions, there's a difference, I guess, between debate and, as elected officials, our job is to represent a point of view and be able to defend it. And so asking, Mr. Flynn about a technical issue in his department, or, or Mr. Burden about an operational issue for our own purposes, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think getting into debates over email, so if council is like doing a discussion about an issue, that can be problematic, unless it's something sensitive that we should be dealing with. But yes, I think that the line, I think, is drawn for me. Those directors, I'm sure, would be happier to pick up the phone or send an email instead of getting blindsided in a public meeting about a question. So we're, as much as possible, because we still have to bring that information out. So if it is something that we can make sure that our meetings that are in public are productive, and we are, the information has to come out. So I would suggest, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong, but Rodney, I can't imagine that you would not prefer to get emails from council.
I like it. I really do. I like getting emails from councillors, and because I feel that helps me be part of the process. It helps me, understand their needs, and it helps me, communicate for the most part. We're started communication, and so we have that level of comfortableness with each other. All of the staff feel the same way, that any time you email us or call us, we regard that as a very positive thing. The way that generally works for us is that, if anybody were to ask me, I would say, any kind of information that we have, it's council's information. If it comes to creating reports or writing reports, then, that may be a little bit different. We have to come back to all of council for direction. But sometimes, most times, it's a very, very good question, and a lot of times, it's something that I, again, as I mentioned earlier, haven't thought to inform council. So I should tell all council this now. And it resulted in an email, I would say, if, Councillor Granter asked me a question, I said, which question I asked her earlier today about COVID? Well, it just so happens that it happens to be on my report, but it very well could not have been. I only added it at the last minute. So it was a very, very good question, and then I would answer that councillor and then send that information to all of council. So having these kind of questions come is good.
Yes, Debbie.
Yeah, and I certainly didn't ask that question about the COVID protocols to put anybody on the spot or blindside anybody. It's just something that somebody asked me today, so I brought it. I'm just thinking to do the math sitting around here, and I'm not going to belabor it because I'll certainly send the city manager lots of questions and lots of. I'm not behind the door when it comes to my opinion. I'm sure that he'll get my opinion on this one way or the other. I'm just saying there's 7 of us sitting around this table. There's 4 gentle people over there at the end, and Marina, 5. There's certain days that I could have as high as 10 questions for some of the directors, depending on what's happening in our city. Or if I'm preparing for a meeting tonight, and I read something, oh gosh, I don't know what that is, so I've got to call Director Burton, then I've got to call Director Flynn, then I've got to call. So if I'm doing all this, and Councillor Gill comes in and said she's after calling all these people, when do they get to do their work? And that was something that was brought to my attention. When do they get to do their work if they're full-time answering my questions?
I have not heard that that's an issue at all.
I'm just saying it could become an issue.
But what I'm wondering is now, I guess, how are we getting the information out now if we're not asking questions? That sort of scares me, actually, that if we're not asking those questions. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. That's not a matter of transparency. That's just a matter of getting information. I'm sure that Rodney, if Rodney and his team get overwhelmed with it, Rodney will bring that complaint to us. That's a problem. So I would expect, of course, councillors read the materials over the weekend, and if they have questions, again, there's nothing wrong with asking questions. That's what we're here for too. But if it's something, especially something like, if Councillor Gill asks a detailed question about statistics on things, well, obviously, Mr. Flynn is not going to have that prepared for the meeting. So, if that's something that Councillor Gill really wants to know, I think the best way is to at least say, hey, Todd, I want to know about this. Could you, find this out for me for the meeting, right? So whatever way, I would prefer that we get complaints about them overworked answering questions than us not asking questions, right? Right?
Look out.
Listen, Deputy, I know that you ask a lot of questions. And so don't pretend that you don't bug these guys asking them questions, because I know you do. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think we should all do that. So this is good. But I think that, the bottom line, I think, can we all agree? We want to make sure that everyone has information, and the information they need to make these decisions. And again, I believe that transparency in our day and age is very important, and making sure that we have this as much in front of the cameras as we can is crucial, really, to our instilling confidence in the community that we serve. Right? Yes.
I don't mean to belabor this, but I just wanted to say thank you to Councillor Brander, because truly, this whole conversation has helped me understand what the community of the whole is.
Correct.
I mean, as a newbie coming to council, it's, I'm finally getting my head around things now on month 7 or 8 or whatever it is. So actually, it's a good thing that you brought this up, because it really helped me clarify how we actually go through our process. How many months is it?
5.
It seems like, no.
I said, we've made that joke before, but it seems long. It's a rough winter. Oh, my. Okay, so we got some food for thought, and we can definitely we can pass on your comments and all that, and staff will formulate another tighter version of this for some decision, so we can move forward. So thank you all. We had, yes, we have a question about COVID protocol. So Rodney, you have some information, I guess, on what city facilities and things are doing? Yes.
As of right now, the mandates were lifted, so we are not requiring any member or anybody who visits City Hall or the Civic Center or anywhere that they would have to wear a mask, but we're asking staff to wear masks for the time being until, we kind of see where, the current spike in COVID cases is going. And, these are for safety reasons, but it's also for operational reasons.
Right.
We are managing very well, but right now I know in one department we have 4 people and 3 of them are out with COVID. So, but we have to try to, manage that in the building and in our workplaces. Water treatment plant is something that, we certainly wouldn't want to see an outbreak go through somewhere like that. So, other than that, the public does not have to wear a mask, but we're asking staff to, for now, staff will have to be vaccinated. So that won't affect them on a day-to-day basis because they would have had to be vaccinated by now. So that's not really going to change anything. But if we had, we've had new staff coming on, we'd ask them to be vaccinated.
Okay.
So there's where we are with that.
So basically, any public access, so buildings where the public would normally go, like our Civic Center or City Hall,
Yes.
you would not be required to wear a mask or have a vax pass.
We won't be checking for vax passes.
Right. But we're asking staff. So again, I would imagine we still have we always do have restricted access to things like the depot.
Yep.
You're not allowed, the general public should not be going there anyway. But we have had times this winter where it's gotten a bit scary at places like the fire department or the depot in terms of getting a few cases and we didn't know which way it would go. So, good. I don't know if anyone has any other questions about that.
I have some other things on this report. Do you want me to do it now or?
Yeah, if it's something, if it's not a land legal labor thing, go for it.
No. One is the Rotary Music Festival.
Oh, yes.
The city has received a last-minute request for financial support for the Cornbrook Rotary Music Festival Association. The association will be holding a 4-day mini Rotary Music Festival from March 28th to 31st. In the past, the city has contributed $1,000 to support this festival. With a current time restraint, I have authorized $1,000 to support this year's festival as well.
Okay. Any questions on that?
Do we need to pass a motion on that? We'll just give it to
No,
him.
he has the discretion to do it.
Okay.
We can yell at him if we want, but
It's so good to see the Rotary Music Festival coming back. I mean,
a necessary part of life here in Cornwall.
yeah, a big part of the life in Cornwall.
And anything else there, or?
Yes, there is the City Hall business hours.
Okay.
Currently, our business hours at City Hall are 8 to 5, and we don't see any traffic between 8 and 8:30, and we don't see any traffic between 4:30 and 5. The rest of the City Hall works from 8:30 to 4:30, and sometimes it requires a staggered shift. What we have now is one person that will be there from 8 to 8:30, and another person who will be there by themselves from 4:30 to 5 o'clock. So that's not a huge deal in and of itself, but when it comes to summer relief and providing, summer holidays, it isn't to save us a little bit over time, but this is not going to affect us operationally, in our opinion, and staff are looking forward to the more, to getting off a little bit earlier in the summertime. But they're still working the exact same hours. There's just one staggered shifts. Both will come at 8:30 and both will finish at 4:30.
Okay.
As opposed to one coming in at 8:30 and one coming in at 8 o'clock and one coming in at 9.
Okay, so, and again, just for benefit, I don't know if everyone could hear.
Well, it means is that, the CSR desk will not banned from 8 to 8:30 or staff, from 8 to 8:30 or 4:30 to 5.
Okay. You got that? Any questions or?
And I just wanted to give a quick update on the recruitment update with the finance and administration.
And maybe we could, Brian, that might be one we want to save for the in-camera in that case?
Yeah, just as
That's an HR issue there. I think that'd be best.
Yeah, it's done, yeah, okay.
Right? Okay. The final thing, I guess, I just wanted to mention, this is not an agenda item, I just wanted to congratulate Rodney. He was just, elected to the CAMA board, the Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators, as the Newfoundland representative. So congratulations, Rodney. It's good to have, again, I know you've had participation on that board before, and it's a great source. I know that you do consult with your colleagues from CAMA quite a bit, especially on issues like recruitment and other sort of pan-Canadian issues. So just wanted to mention that and say congratulations on behalf of council.
I appreciate it. I look forward to it.
Yeah. Okay, well, that being the end of the agenda, we do have an in-camera session right after. So we will say goodbye to our friends at Rogers. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. I'll declare this part of the meeting adjourned.